back to normal, back to a classic, regular ass just camera lens. I've been playing around with some anamorphic, which probably only 0.1% of you guys get what I'm saying there. But it's yeah, it's kind of fun. You know, it's like when you get into anything, if you get into computers or if you're like a car dude and you're swapping your stuff, that's kind of how I've been nerding out with all the camera stuff. But let's bring it back to basics. The last few lifts were like kind of a wide angle, whatever. This will be a little more chill, but that's fun. But you can overdo it. You know, it's like with anything. If you try to really change up every detail, you kind of lose track of what you're really trying to do. You know, so in relation to the training, you know, do I think you really need to try to optimize your own version and write a new published study about your what's the word? Fuck, what do they call it? Uh, oh, no, it's not Romanian. It's like some European kind of, damn, I forget the name of it, but whatever. Like some, you know, trying to write your 2024 exercise-based thesis on why the Yugoslavian 10 rep, 5 rep Maya rep in reserve plus a drop set superset is actually much more effective than the right, whatever. You know, go hard, and I think that's 99.6% of it. Maybe less, but you know. So that's one thing that's been kind of, I've been getting a little, I don't want to say annoyed, but it's been kind of getting under my skin a touch when I see all the comments and videos where it's like, there's no gains in the squeeze. It's all about the stretch. Okay, it's all about the stretch, huh? So when I go do this day of, you know, hamstrings, or when you go do your arm workout and you do a set of cable curls or preachers, are you just going to do this much range of motion? It's all stretch. There's no squeeze, you know? The squeeze doesn't do anything for you. It's all about this stretch right in here, right? Guys, there's not much need to invent the wheel. And it's very fun to be, you know, like, oh, this is the newest best thing, and we've all been doing it wrong, actually. We really need to start doing it like this. Like you know, don't forget, there has been, I mean, how long is bodybuilding, or just muscle building, right? People trying to be jacked. That's all the way back to fucking, you know, Rome Olympic times and even further beyond. So there's been basically a coalition of, at this point, I don't know how many people, hundreds of millions across time, and if not hundreds of millions, even billions of people, where they've all basically been faced with the challenge of, okay, I want more muscle. Let's try to get more muscle. The answer is just gonna fucking appear, you know. Now I think it's all cool and dandy that we're getting much more information about the explanation of why certain things in exercise work, and like certain tempos and holding and fiber activation and everything else. But that's purely explaining what people have already been doing this whole time, you know. Like there's studies where, oh well, the muscles of the calves are actually, they actually respond to training in a much different way. They need more frequent stimulus. People have been saying that for 30 years, right? Back in more golden age kind of times, where it's like, oh man, these calves are stubborn muscle group, bro. They can take it hitting. They can take it beating, right? Demolish them 3 to 4 times a week, or you know, whatever else, you know. So it's like, what's the point, you know? And it just sort of annoys me a little, you know, because if I was I'd oh, sometimes I think about this, even just in the scheme of life, but also just working out on its own. I would be a much different guy right now if I were a kid 10 years later. Frankly, I don't think kids have it as easy. I mean, if you put the most mentally stimulating and addicting piece of technology that there's ever been in the hand of a 2-year-old or younger, that's going to derail your upbringing. But even just looking at the workout side of things, I mean, there's so much misinformation being construed and like sent all over the place, because you can make a million different Instagram reels talking about how you need to bias to stretch and you should never do this and that, right? And I know none of that's, I never see it. Everybody I see working out is always doing regular reps, regular sets and drop sets and everything else. But just the fact that that's kind of a growing populace of like, oh, and I see this too. I see a lot of posts where it's like, the pump doesn't mean anything. What are you trying to do chasing a pump? Oh my goodness. Well, if we know what we're doing, right? We know how to have a good lift, and that's exactly what the plan is tonight. No need to worry about anybody who's getting themselves off track. But plan for tonight's leg day, a hamstring focused leg day. That is laying curls, seated curls, RDLs, and maybe something else if I find a different variation to add. But that'll be it. That will be it. And I want to change the order. Last time I was at this gym for legs, I did seated curls, then RDLs, then laying curls. So this time I might flip it around. Maybe do laying curls first, then seated curls, then RDLs, or just something to spice it up a touch. Because not only is it just a different workout in terms of its order of everything, but your sets are going to feel very different if you've done a certain amount of movements before, right after, or whatever else. Like for me to do a set of RDLs cold and fresh probably wouldn't feel as good as if I did 2 sets of some kind of curl first and then got onto the RDL, because my hamstrings are warm, they're activated, they're primed for firing and squeezing, so it's easier for me to hit them because they've already built up some momentum, and then quads is just going to be get a little bit of a quad pump, nothing crazy, just some leg extensions, maybe some sissy squats, nothing crazy. Hamstrings and adductors are the real star of the show tonight. And then I think I'm gonna have to back off and do quad focused, hamstring focused, quad focused, hamstring focused, because quad focused on the regular, and with a good hamstring workout too tagged along, I think it has been a little bit too taxing on my whole system when I'm in a deficit calorie intake. When I'm bulking up, I've got no problem. Crazy squat, crazy leg press, chest day, back day, arm day, crazy squat, crazy leg press. Like that loop works out pretty well when I've got 1,000,000 calories in my system. But dieting down, I think I gotta back off a touch. Yeah. In terms of the yawning, I think it's got to be psychological, with the fact that it's always, or I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking that because I'm driving in the dark. But it's 6 o'clock. This is, this used to be like the sun was still shining just a few months ago. But as the pre-workout gets absorbed and flows through my veins over the next 15 minutes or so and reaches its peak, then I will be well on my way to a nasty hamstring pump, which isn't the craziest thing in the world to see. Honestly, I think legs are, or at least when I'm like looking at my legs, especially lean, they are they're a little more impressive unpumped, because when they're pumped up, I mean, they're just swollen, right? They just kind of get inflated with blood in a way that doesn't really add to their look as much. Like I feel like with legs and back, they're almost a little cooler unpumped, and not flat, but just because there's more separation. So sometimes I don't even do a leg pump check, just because it's like I already know what they look like. But as we get leaner, I'm going to get more and more interested, because I'll start to see even more medial quad separation and striations at veins, just everything underneath the sun. But we're on track, so I can wait. I can wait a couple more weeks for the real freak factor of this dieting phase to begin to show up. So until then, let's just keep these lifts moving. Get started with laying curls, I think. Yeah, as predicted.
And this won't be like a brutish million-pound set. 140 feels like the sweet spot of a good controlled set with a holding squeeze at the top, but not going too deep. Or no, I'm saying not going too fast. Right, these are going to be a reasonable tempo. But I might do more of a nasty burnout set in a little. If I can get a good song in the queue. Yeah, there you go. Oh my gosh. One more like that. Same weight, same everything. Whew. Yeah, that was good. Oh yeah. Oh. Let's go a little heavier. Make this third one a nasty one. Then move on. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh, that was good. Let's do some RDLs. I thought I was going to do lane curls next, but I kind of like the back and forth of curl, RDL, curl as a finisher. So let's go grab the Smith. No need for any crazy weight. 2 plates should be really as much as I need. And not even as much as I need, as much as I can do. And what I mean by that is if I were to try to do 3 plates or 3.5, 4, anything above, honestly, maybe even right here, at least for today, I just wouldn't be working my hamstrings anymore. All I would do is have to recruit my lower back and my glutes and my lats, my whole posterior deadlifting chain to move the weight around. And if all I'm trying to do is hamstrings, I don't need that much. Plus, more of the brutish work I feel I can finish on the curls. This is kind of a nice stretch, squeeze focused. So the weight isn't as important. A little bit of backwards thinking for the RDLs, at least compared to regular. Okay. Oh my goodness. I almost feel like even 2 plates might be overdoing it in terms of the glute activation. But I think one more like that, seated curls, and I'll be get hamstring wise at least. Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. Yeah, I was doing a lot of glutes, those top 2 reps. That's good though. Those were good. Let's do some seated curls, maybe some fancy sets, and then get quads quickly and lightly pumped. Oh my goodness. This will be classic set. Nothing magic, nothing slow reps, nothing squeezing reps, just regular burnout. And then either be done or go from here. I'll just have to finish the sets to find out. It's kind of a cross that bridge when you get there situation. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. I think I might just want to call it right there. Oh. 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 Leg extension directly to my right. At least that's nice and close. I think that's enough for hamstrings though. Well, I was about to say who'd have guessed it, but honestly, I think that might just be the pattern so far, this dieting phase. The damage that I give my quads on a real quad focused day with leg press, with squat sometimes, and everything else. Fuck. I think I might be getting big enough where it's just taking longer to recover. Which, I mean, I guess that's not a serious problem or anything, but I think for the next at least while, quads might just be a once a week type situation. They're getting too much of a beating. So then the question arises, it's like, okay, if when I do a full quad day, my legs are too cooked for the next lift, it's like, do I back off? Something to think about. But either way, for today at least, we'll just have a little hamstring focus session. Somebody was calling me. But hams, or no, what I'm saying, quads, unpumped. We're getting some interesting things going on here. Is any of that coming across on the Zoom? Because right here, this left one, like reasonable separation and everything else, but that is some quad feathering up in here, right? These kind of cross-strided lines. Like they're not nothing Tom Platz level, of course, but certainly some quad definition, even though they're completely unpumped. Hamstrings are the ones that are a little extra big right now, which you can kind of see. I mean, they got a little bit of a bulbousness across the back of them, which is what I'm aiming for. Oh, oh my goodness. They're like too pumped to even smush up against my other leg to make it look bigger because they're just so fucking tight. Let's see, is it yeah, I think it's something along these lines. Oh my goodness. Well, I think for you, that's the end of this hamstring day. But for me, it's not over. I've been throwing calves in after my cardio, just like 8 sets on like a seated calf or something. You know, just pump them up, give them some stimulation. But I got to add some adductor work in, which not much to see. Really just sit in the adductor machine, pump out sets of, 15 or so with a moderate weight, and then just, camp out until they're fully cooked. So that's next on my agenda. But let's just jump in the car. Little hamstring action today.
All right, some time has passed. Quick little pit stop at parents' house. Pet the dog. Have a little bit of kind of teriyaki, sweet, sour, kind of spicy. Oh, that was easily a 7-pointer right there in the brush. I need like a really cool dash cam for whenever I see random shit out here that I can like clip and then point out for you. But either way, post-workout meal ended up just being about 10 ounces or so of flank, reasonably lean, but still some fat on there. So I wrote down about 65 grams of protein and about 20 of fat. So that puts me at about 150 for the day, 70 grams of fat, and about 120 or something of carbs. So I've got some carbs to play with. But before I end up going to sleep, I just need 100 grams of protein. Probably going to be coming from some turkey breast and maybe a little protein shake blended with some ice to give it a little bit of a smoothie kind of consistency. When it comes to the protein shakes, I'm not a protein shake hater, but I probably wouldn't want all of my protein for the entire day to be coming from shakes. It's I've started to understand your best bet with food is going to be the simpler the better, right? So it's actually I almost feel kind of funny saying this because it's like I'm still going to drink the occasional chocolate milk and like have some treats or whatever else, but for the most part, I'm thinking I want most of my regular foods being pretty close to baseline in terms of ingredients, right? I'm talking steak and eggs, just one ingredient thing right there. Oats, rice, cream of wheat, potatoes. Just makes my whole system kind of run better, which for me is a bit more noticeable, right? Because if I'm eating a crazy amount of food, I'm gonna notice when I get to a point where, okay, I can tell my appetite has died down, my digestion is kind of backing off, my gut biome is probably extra weird right now. So if you're really pushing the food, like, oh, should I clean bulk? Should I dirty bulk? I mean, I don't think you need a complete 100% clean bulk. Like have some scoops of ice cream if it's in the freezer. Don't freak out or anything. But I'd say at least 70% of your meal should be pretty classic, right? Simple protein source, simple carb source, not overly, doused in fatty sauces or anything else like that. And then just chow down. You know, that's another thing that kind of gets under my skin a little bit. Not to make this video like a whole ranting phase, but when it comes to the counting your calories and looking into your macros and everything else, I feel very strongly about it. And the reason, apart from the fact that for us, lifting wise, it is a really good skill set to have because it lets us kind of adapt our diet, change it based on the results that we want as well as whatever results we're getting. If I'm not losing weight fast enough, then that's my cue to say, okay, I better start dropping the calories and continue my sort of fat loss trajectory. And if I'm plateaued, then I'm eating too much. or I'm not burning enough energy, so I should, increase the cardio, right? But compared to anybody who's not really in the space, um, this is like the craziest thing I've ever heard with the food, because it's so uh, like it's developed a sort of weird cliche kind of approach because it's like, people, oh well, if you eat bread, it's gonna make you bread will make you fat. Oh, bread will make you this, or like judging foods on a healthy or unhealthy scale in like a way that's almost only like founded by other kind of cliches. Like it's just so weird, Or oh, I don't want to eat too much protein. It's gonna make me bulky. It's so it's just, I think, a lack of understanding, because there's no, you don't have to take a class where you learn about how much protein you should eat and like how carbs affect your blood sugar and your glycemic index, and like, okay, I don't want to just immediately start gaining weight off the rip when I, eat whatever I want. Like there is a certain approach to just regular eating, which I don't think is very widespread. I say this a lot, not to throw any shade here, but I'm kind of surprised some, not you guys, of course, but I'm kind of surprised some people are even alive based on like the way that they eat, and because it's like 120. I mean, imagine like somebody rolling up to Starbucks for breakfast. Well, I don't want to eat a big breakfast. I just want something light and small. And then they get like a 900 calorie, like sugary, extra cream, some kind of whatever, zero protein, and that's the start of their day. And that that's it's like I can't even grasp it sometimes. And that might sound kind of crazy for me to say, I mean, all the cereal and whatever else. It'll not so much recently. I'm sure I'll start to lose the cereal lover stigma soon enough. But I mean, it's not like I'm not going to have. If I'm bulking up and I've got a bowl of Special K, or I've got a box of Special K in the fridge or in the cupboard, and I got some 2% milk in the fridge, I really don't see the problem. Anybody that's going to really get on you about like, you need to eat chicken and rice. That's the only way to do it if you're really trying to be a. It's yeah, okay. How about you do that and I'll do this, and we'll see what happens. So the so all that is to basically just kind of culminate to say, like, if you get a good grasp of what calories do, what foods make you feel full and what foods don't, how they really affect your appetite, your blood sugar spikes, and everything else. Like if you've got a good read on all of that information, then it makes it pretty easy to kind of bend the rules. Like somebody who's a real fucking experienced lawyer can kind of bend the law and get around certain things and be able to do whatever because he's very well versed in the rules of the system and all the information that he's got available. So that's just makes it easier to be a little bit more flexible with it. If I really wanted, and I said, oh, tomorrow I am just dying for 2 spicy chicken sandwiches from either Chick-fil-A or Wendy's. Historically, I've been a Wendy's fan, but honestly, the Chick-fil-A one has been starting to grow on me. But whatever, like if I'm just fiending for it, I need to have it. Okay, that's not 2 random chicken sandwiches. That's 80 grams of carbs, or probably more like 90 grams of carbs, 30 grams of fat, and like 40 grams of protein. Those numbers can easily be fit into my daily calorie allotment. So, it might not be the most ideal, but right, you got to kind of feed the beast in a sense if you've really got a hankering for some kind of treat or some kind of whatever, especially if you're dieting to the point of making real gains. So, you don't have to completely torture yourself by saying, okay, I can never have any food that I really like to eat. Like you can, but it's just kind of an in moderation. So, little bit of a shorter one today. Tomorrow will be good. I'm already getting excited for chest, and it's only. Oh, I thought I was gonna hiccup. Only 8:20. I might be in bed before 10. My sleep schedule has been getting pretty good, And I think it's to do with the fact that it gets so dark so early. Like, I feel like it's almost, bedtime at 7 because it's like pitch black out. I thought daylight savings time was like over with. Is that, either way, doesn't change the fact that I'm going to pump the shit out of my chest tomorrow and continue to stay in my calorie deficit goals in perpetuity until I've reached my desired level of leanness. So, until then, get your sleep, get your meals in, drink a crazy amount of fluids, more than you would think is necessary, and then whenever you're doing a working set, go fucking nuts. I can't really say any more than that to anybody. So I'll see you tomorrow for some chest.